watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday morning live on Fox Local and on YouTube. We have just about made it to the weekend. It is Friday. Coming up in just a little bit, we are going to have our Community Crossroads segment where we take a look at some of the things happening this weekend. Some ways for you to get out and about, enjoy what's going to be a great weekend, a lovely weekend, a perfect weather weekend, back to normal after the cold weather has gone. So we'll have some ideas for you coming up in just a little bit. That's around 11:40. We are also going to look ahead at the weekend in sports at 11:50. Talk with Sean Green about that. The Magic play tonight, but without one of their star players. What is that going to mean for them? We're going to look into that. Also preview the UCF Texas Tech game that you'll be able to watch on Fox 35 tomorrow afternoon. At 11:30, we're going to talk about a pretty interesting topic here, and that is because an AI company says that its AI tool was manipulated by a Chinese state-sponsored group for a cyber espionage attack on 30 different targets around the globe. What does this mean for AI and that kind of thing that we hear and talk a lot about? We're going to talk with one of our experts about kind of where we stand when it comes to cybersecurity and this new era of hacking. So that's coming up in just a little bit as well. Later this afternoon, we are going to talk with the CEO of IAAPA. The IAAPA expo begins next week at the Orange County Convention Center, a big draw for theme park and attractions enthusiasts. So we look forward to having him on around 1:30 this afternoon. So a busy day ahead of us. We've got 4 hours of live streaming here on Fox Local and YouTube, and we appreciate you joining in today. But we want to begin with our Fox 35 News Plus headlines and a story out of Orlando where a police officer is not going to be criminally charged after a high-speed chase that led to the death of a 56-year-old bystander. Fox 35's Amanda Ruiz has the details.
Yes, the state attorney's office says it wasn't the detective's fault. In fact, they said it was the suspect's fault, adding that it was his actions that day that allegedly killed that innocent bystander. It happened back on February 12th of this year. Darnell Barnage is accused of hitting and killing 56-year-old Gerald Neal while running from an unmarked patrol car. That unmarked car driven by Orlando Police Detective Christopher Moulton. A criminal defense attorney not affiliated with this case says the state attorney's office can't really say the detective knew or should have known the suspect he was chasing was going to kill someone. He adds while the detective will not face any criminal charges, civil charges could still be a possibility. He points to the police pursuit. Investigators say the chase started after an attempted traffic stop for Barnage after allegedly not having a license plate that was readable from 50 feet away. When he took off, the detective chased him at speeds reaching 90 miles per hour.
On a criminal standard, it's a very high standard. On a civil standard, it's lower. You cannot just go and pursue someone at a high rate of speed for a very minor traffic offense, which is ultimately what this amounts to be.
And while the detective is not facing any criminal charges, Barnage is facing 3 of them, including vehicular homicide. Reporting in Orlando, Amanda Ruiz, Fox 35 News.
Give you a live look right now at the skyline of New York City, where Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood has a new ad that is playing, a billboard in Times Square, actually encouraging some New York police officers, if they're looking for a job, to come to Volusia County. We've talked with him about his pitch before, some of the comments he made after the election in New York City, where they elected Zohran Mamdani as the new mayor there. There is now a billboard where with a QR code for folks to apply for a job. Fox 35's Marley Capper has more from Sheriff Chitwood.
You know, Sheriff Chitwood says that a new billboard will be shown 80 times a day through the end of January. The message tells New Yorkers, hey, if you're looking to leave the city, Florida would love to have you. The billboard reads, Dear NYCPD, sunny Florida is waiting. Another panel says, serve a community that appreciates you. The ad features a QR code that links directly to the sheriff's online application. And the sheriff says it may take some time to see a response and says that the billboard was strategically placed.
I think the ironic thing of it all is when you come out of the police station at Times Square, that billboard staring you right in the face. People might not come right away. They probably want to wait what's going on. You know, the NYPD doesn't have a contract, so they're going to wait a little bit. We want to put it on their mind that we want good cops down here in Florida.
The sheriff says the message on the billboard will change weekly and that other law enforcement agencies have actually signed on for the campaign. It's being funded through the Volusia Sheriff's Foundation, which means no taxpayer dollars are being used for the ad.
Sunny Florida is waiting, the billboard says. And here's a live look at sunny Florida, or Daytona Beach, from our Hard Rock Hotel camera. We will hear a little bit more from Sheriff Chitwood coming up a little bit later in the show. But the sun is shining. You see the water and a lot of sand on Daytona Beach right now. Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner joins me now, and Brooks, heading into the weekend here, and things going to be nice and a little more typical for this time of year.
This is it. This is the weather we've been waiting for. It's finally here. So a lot of people are going to be very happy with this. But our nice weather comes at a cost, and the cost is what's going on out west. We'll talk about that, and it may impact if you have travel plans that way or Thanksgiving plans. First off, though, the beach is looking nice. This is Daytona Beach. If you're heading that way, waves will be 1 to 2 feet. We've got a tide coming our way, a high tide at 3:33 p.m. and then a low tide tonight close to 10 p.m. A moderate risk for rip currents. The water temperature now down to 71, so it's getting a little cool thanks to that recent cold snap. Air temperature 74 degrees. View of Ponce Inlet reveals bluebird skies, just perfect conditions. We're going to top out today at about 74 at New Smyrna and at Ponce, 76 Ocala, and 76 degrees in Kissimmee. Well, it is Friday, so Friday Night Football Blitz is on Fox 35 Orlando. And the weather's going to be great for football, although I'd wear a sweatshirt or even a light jacket, maybe even have like one of those little fleece blankets you can throw over your knees watching the game, because we're going to dip to around 60 by 9, but maybe by then you'll be standing up cheering. Where they're not cheering is out west. Do you see that appendage, if you will, of red and yellow coming out of the tropics? That's heading right into Southern California. It's a narrow stream of deep tropical moisture called the Atmospheric River, or the Pineapple Express, as it's known colloquially. What that is a region of extremely thick moisture you'd typically find in the tropical latitudes where pineapples grow, being transported into a mid-latitude over 30 degrees north, which is Los Angeles. And it's a mountainous area. Not used to that kind of rain, and with the mountains it wrings it out even more than it would. And so they're getting rain now. It's going to rain for the better part of the next 3 days, and in doing so, it could dump between 2 and 4 inches for a large swath of Southern California, but as many as 7 to 10 inches in other areas there in the foothills. Now that doesn't sound like a lot by Florida standards, but that's a ton of rain for them. That's like getting 15, 20 inches of rain here in Florida. So flood watches are in effect. They've already had some flash flood warnings around Santa Barbara, and in the mountains there, they could even have mudslides. They've issued voluntary evacuations for some of the burn scar regions. If you remember Altadena, the Palisades, those fires that happened almost a year ago, that's the area where the soils actually become repellent to water, because when plants and all that stuff burn, it can leave a little thin skim of oil on the soil and it repels the moisture, so it runs off instead of soaking in. So it's a big deal out there for sure. And the worse their weather is, inversely, the better our weather is. So it's kind of a funny reverse relationship. So we're going to see some sunshine and beautiful weather this weekend. By the way, the mountains there, the Sierra Nevada, could get upwards of 2 to as many as 5 feet of snow. That's up by Mammoth Lakes and also into Lake Tahoe. So the seesaw across the country, what am I talking about? Well, there's going to be a persistent trough in the west, which is like a elongated area of low pressure between Alaska and the Baja. And so there will be several storms that track along that trough and bring consistent rain chances and snow for the mountains to Southern California and Central California for the next, really almost 2 weeks. Meanwhile, across the east, we're going to be dominated by high pressure and the associated sunny and warmer weather as we're on the upside of that seesaw. I've put a seesaw on the map just to show you what I mean. If you remember earlier this week when the East Coast had that Arctic outbreak, we were on the low side of that seesaw, while California saw sunshine and highs in the upper 80s. So it really is a back and forth this time of the year. In the 7-day forecast from our perch here in Orlando, we really are looking at some spectacular weather. Highest day will reach the mid and upper 70s. We'll be in the low 80s Saturday, Sunday, mid 80s by the middle and end of next week. And it looks like, Garrett, that nice weather is going to carry through into Thanksgiving.
Great.
Now, in the long-range forecast, there is speculation, and at this point it's too soon to say for sure, we may have another Arctic outbreak come to the east around the 1st of December. And that could be a really cold one, especially for the Midwest and the Northeast. But it's too soon to say if that's going to be something that impacts us here in Florida.
So in the meantime, we will just enjoy the 70s and 80s,
yes,
and this beautiful week. We know a lot of folks coming here probably for Thanksgiving, and
Yes.
so that's good. The things are going to be
This is it.
nice and get what they're paying for.
This is the weather they hope for. Exactly. Chamber of Commerce is taking note.
That's right. Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you, Garrett.
We're going to take a quick break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but here's a live look right now at downtown Orlando on this Friday morning. Keep it here on Fox Local and YouTube. We'll be right back. Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus and some breaking news here. A former Lake Mary High School teacher could spend the rest of his life in prison after he pleaded guilty this week to sexual battery and some other charges for a relationship with a 17-year-old student. This is 57-year-old Richard Colon. He pleaded guilty this week in court to 3 counts of sexual battery on a child by a person in custodial authority. That is a first-degree felony, and it is punishable by up to life in prison. A number of other charges as well that he faced. He is accused, again, of having a relationship with a 17-year-old student that started in 2024 with some sexually charged messages and photos that were sent over Snapchat. Forensic searches, investigators say, found photos, videos, text messages showing sexual activity, including in the classroom. So this is, again, Richard Carlos Colon. He was originally placed on administrative leave by the Seminole County School District when these allegations first came out just over a year ago. He now pleading guilty, could face up to life in prison. His sentence will be determined at a hearing on December 8th, so about a month from now, he will learn his fate. A former Marion County deputy learned his fate today in court. We're talking about Leslie Boileau, who was convicted of manslaughter in the death of his girlfriend. He was today sentenced to 25 years in prison for the death of 25-year-old Paulina Wright. This was a case out of Ocala where he told investigators he was teaching her how to use a gun after they had been out drinking. He believed he had cleared the weapon, according to what he had told investigators, dry fired it, then ended up firing it again and shot an actual round. She was shot in the head and died. He was convicted of manslaughter and then sentenced today in a hearing where we heard from a number of family and friends of the victim who spoke. We also heard briefly from Boileau himself, who spoke before the judge levied his sentence.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You put your hand in.
Would you state your full name, please?
Leslie Dale Boylou Jr.
All right. Mr. Boylou, at the time of your arrest, you were employed as a Marion County deputy. Is that correct?
Correct.
How long had you worked for the sheriff's office?
8 years.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
No.
Have you ever been arrested for a crime?
No.
Is there anything else? I mean, you testified at the trial. Is there anything else that you would like to say today?
Yeah. I've gone over and over in my head about how blind I could have been to allow this situation to unfold. It comes down to me being complacent, prideful, arrogant, and overconfident. And I know I can't make up for what happened that night, but I'm going to do my best to make a difference. And I'm truly sorry to both families.
That's all.
State, did you all have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Was there any other evidence you wanted to present?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's take about a 10-minute recess. We'll come back at about 1:15.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Boylou, is there anything you want to say before I impose sentence? Okay. All right. Before I impose sentence, I want to make clear for the record what evidence I am not considering. I am specifically declining to consider the portion of any statement written or delivered in court this morning that refers to uncharged acts committed by Mr. Boylou. To the extent that I am considering unsworn victim impact statements, I will say this. They simply echo that Ms. Wright's death left a void in many lives and caused immeasurable sadness, both of which were testified to here today. Mr. Boylou, the maximum sentence you could receive for this offense is 30 years of imprisonment. The Criminal Punishment Code would have me sentence you to a term of imprisonment of at least 12.125 years. You have asked me to consider imposing a downward departure sentence of less than that. I do find that the greater weight of the evidence has established that this was an isolated incident committed in an unsophisticated manner for which you have shown remorse. As such, a sentence of less than 12.125 years could be lawfully imposed. But simply because a downward departure sentence can be imposed does not mean that it must be imposed. The question before me today then is, should I depart? To make this decision, I must weigh the totality of the circumstances of this case, including the aggravating and mitigating factors. To that end, I have thought about the evidence presented and reflected on what justice requires here today. On the one hand, you were a law enforcement officer. You swore an oath to serve as a law enforcement officer, a solemn promise to protect others, even at the risk of your own life. And for 8 years, you did that. And by all measures, you did that well and honorably. You know what it's like to put on a bulletproof vest each morning, knowing that your day may bring you face to face with mortal danger at the hands of a person who may seek to use a firearm to end your life. Most people don't know what that's like. Your service will be recognized today as a mitigating factor, as will your record of good character and the good that you did in this community until September 19th of 2024. But one cannot simply ignore the other side of that coin. You, more than most, understood the power of a firearm and the responsibility that comes with holding one. Putting on your vest every day was also a reminder that firearms are deadly weapons capable of ending life. You were trained. I've looked through your training records. They were admitted into evidence during the trial. You were highly trained how to handle firearms safely, to protect innocent life, and to avoid taking it. Your training records speak for themselves. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. You knew all of that, and you knew to never point your weapon at anything you did not intend to shoot. But, despite all of that, on September 19th, 2024, you pointed a rifle at Ms. Wright, pulled the trigger, shot her between the eyes, and killed her. Afterward, you had what appeared to be the audacity to cast blame upon her because she asked you to teach her how to use firearms. She was innocent. It never should have happened. I could say that it could have been prevented, but that would imply it was simply an accident. It was more than that. It was senseless, reckless, and criminal. There will be no winners in the courtroom today. You have brought loss to everybody here, and none of their lives will ever be the same. Paulina Wright lost her life in the promise of all that it could have been. Her family very clearly lost a lifetime of memories they will never get to make. And even your family, they have to live with having you in their lives in the way that they deserve. And your actions and your choices are to blame for all of that. Mr. Boileau, you are going to lose your freedom today. The totality of the circumstances in this case do not warrant a downward departure sentence, and I will not exercise my discretion to impose one. I will, however, try to achieve some measure of justice here, with an understanding that true justice would be restoring what was lost, something that is far above what I have the power to do. Every life has worth beyond measure, and every act has a consequence. Your act of taking Ms. Wright's life in the manner... Judge. The blue man flashed. You should be good. Madam Clerk, if you would mind calling ECR. Every life has worth beyond measure, and every act has a consequence. Your act of taking Ms. Wright's life in the manner you did is no exception. It is a crime, and for it you will be punished. Accordingly, as to the offense of manslaughter with a firearm, you will be adjudicated guilty. You will be sentenced to 25 years, 8 months, and 20 days in the Department of Corrections. You will receive credit for 47 days served. I've calculated that as follows. You were arrested on September 20th, 2024, and posted bond on September 21st, 2024. That is 2 days of credit. You were remanded into custody following the trial October 1st, 2025, and were remained in custody through today. That's 31 days in October, 14 thus far in November, for a total of 45 days. That's a total of 47. You'll pay a fine, $1,000. Any mandatory court costs and surcharges of $100, and the cost of prosecution to the Office of the State Attorney. You have 30 days if you'd like to file a notice of appeal, and if you cannot afford to hire an attorney to represent you on appeal and qualify, I am happy to appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you on appeal. That'll be the sentence of the court. Would you like me to consider, Mr. Taddy, appointing the Office of the Public Defender for appeal?
Not at this time.
Okay. Very good. Court will be adjourned.
That was the sentence in court today. Leslie Boileau remanded into custody, where he will spend more than 25 years in prison. You see family members there filing out of the courtroom. We heard from several family members of the victim, Paulina Wright, 25 years old. They spoke about their relationship with her, missing her, talked about a number of things as well. So 25 years in prison for that former Marion County Sheriff's deputy convicted of manslaughter. I want to give you a little bit of context for some of those live images we were showing you here. This is in Broadview, Illinois, outside an ICE facility there, where we have seen a number of arrests during a protest there. This has been a place that we have seen protests quite a bit over the past few weeks, including some that have gotten out of hand and led to arrests. Things seem to be somewhat stable right now, not seeing a lot of commotion, but this is a place we have seen protests quite a bit over the past few weeks in response to the president's strict immigration enforcement actions across the country. The other live picture I had up has now gone down, but that was a group of Christian leaders who were rallying on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, holding signs of thanks for President Donald Trump. They were specifically thanking him for his action in Nigeria and calling on Congress to act for what they call an existential threat to Christians in that African country. So several things we are continuing to monitor at this hour. We will keep an eye on the protests there in Illinois as well, and bring you any worthy updates from that. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the morning, because it looks like a pretty sizable crowd still outside that facility in Broadview, Illinois. We're going to take a break right now, though, here on Fox 35 News Plus, and we will be right back after this.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday morning, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. We have talked before about the popularity of melatonin right now, and folks using that as a sleep aid. Dr. Matthew Knight was on Good Day Orlando today to talk about a new study that talks about some of the potential risks of using that. A study that showed those who use melatonin supplements to combat insomnia for a year or more had a 90% increased chance of heart failure. Dr. Knight on Good Day Orlando this morning to talk about that.
So this is kind of scary, right? Because a lot of people, especially in our line of work, people who get up early, use this just to help them go to bed at night.
Yes.
And now we're hearing it might not be so good for you.
Yeah, so, melatonin is all over the place. This wasn't something our grandparents took, but it's something that all kinds of people take. The number of people taking melatonin has gone up like 3 times over the past 20 years. And this is a hormone that our body naturally makes in something called the pineal gland in our brain that allows us to go to sleep naturally. But people are taking it left and right to try to get to sleep if they've been jet lagged or had a stressful week, and so the numbers are way up.
Okay, so why is it now being associated with these heart issues? What's going on?
Well, what happened is at the American Heart Association meeting, a bunch of cardiologists stood up and started talking about this chart review they did. They looked at a bunch of patients and noticed that people that took melatonin for over a year had a 90% higher risk of dying of any cause or heart disease. And that's really scary when you hear it. And of course, the media picked this up and it went all over the globe. But in reality, all they did was look at a bunch of charts. They didn't control for other conditions these patients had or other medications they were taking. And so they're just saying these two things are associated, but in medical terms, we can't prove that it causes the heart disease. So there's no evidence that melatonin is causing people to die or to have heart disease. They're just associated. And the reason is if you're sick or you have chronic health conditions or you take a bunch of medications, you often suffer from insomnia, and that's when people reach for the melatonin. So it's important for everyone to know, because so many people are taking this stuff, that just because two things are associated doesn't doesn't mean one causes the other. And I think in this case, we need a lot of caution. There's no evidence yet that melatonin is causing the heart disease.
Okay, so more research, more study, obviously, is needed.
Yes.
But one of the things that gave me pause was that people who take it every day.
It's a lot of people.
Sometimes I think that we fall into these habits, right? You might not need it every day.
That's exactly right.
So I feel like there's a little word of caution there.
And the people that take it, again, there's 3 times more people taking it. All of a sudden, half of those people are more take it every day. And a lot of people take it in increasing doses. So they start off at a half a milligram and then a milligram and then 5 milligrams. And we see people that are taking 10 milligrams and more of melatonin every single night. And that's not what it was intended for. This stuff is best used on a temporary basis if you're jet lagged or you had a stressful week and you want to get off to bed. This stuff is not a sedative. It doesn't put you to sleep or keep you asleep, but it can help you drift off to bed. Okay. So I recommend that people watch the dose, start low if you want to take it. It's okay for temporary use, but it's not okay for all the time use. And if you have chronic health conditions and that's behind your insomnia, you need to work with a medical provider instead of taking a bunch of melatonin every night. And I think that's the important part.
Okay, and there's a lot of sleep aids out there. I think that's the other thing too. People are taking this because they think it's natural.
Well, it's marketed that way. If you look at the labels, they'll say natural or non-drug. The FDA doesn't regulate this stuff the way they do prescription medications. And so that's why people are reaching for this. It's so easy to get, but we see patients who are taking more and more and more when what they really have is an underlying health condition or insomnia. That's when they need to see a healthcare provider and talk about a more restful sleep. The main take-home point is we know more and more that restful sleep is key to your overall health. Don't neglect your sleep. If you're getting bad night's sleep and you have insomnia, it's time to see a doctor.
Yeah, a lot of good takeaways there from Dr. Knight this morning on Good Day Orlando. Well, have we entered a new era of hacking? An AI company says it has thwarted the first AI-orchestrated cyber espionage campaign. This is the company Anthropic, which is an AI company, saying that Chinese state-sponsored group manipulated their Claude coding tool manipulating it into infiltrating 30 different targets all around the globe. We're talking large tech companies, financial institutions, chemical manufacturing companies, and government agencies. And the company believes this is the first documented case of a large-scale cyber attack that was really executed without substantial human intervention, they say. So joining us now to make sense of all of this and talk about where we go from here is Matt Rose. He's the CXO of Tech Rage IT in Winter Springs. And we appreciate you joining us, Matt, here on Fox 35 News Plus.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, Garrett.
So first of all, this is kind of scary. And so I want to start by, if you can just kind of break down for us how this worked and what happened here.
So looking through it, it does seem like it's the first documented case to this level. People have used AI for a while, hackers and good guys, for security reasons. We've talked about it to our customers for a long time that phishing attacks have gotten more sophisticated in general because they're using AI to write better emails. They're using AI to get through the data faster, just like we use AI for good. They use it for bad. So that's been going on for a long time now. What this appears to be saying is they used a lot of more automated AI, things like AI agents. So if you've heard the terms agents, they're literally like little bots that you can make, and you can do it for good, and apparently you can do it for bad. That are like, it has instructions to go out and kind of do work for you without really any interaction. Further, it actually used what's called an MCP server, which is kind of like a little home base of different tools and different information that it would keep coming back to. And that's a new thing that people have been using. Again, for good, and it does appear that 80 to 90% of these attacks were done without human intervention, which is pretty terrifying.
Yeah, are we at an inflection point here, Matt?
We probably are, and I struggle to say it. It's like anything that AI does. AI is making things faster. It's making things able to be done without the same human interaction. It's why everyone has this worry about jobs and AI, but in the same flip side now, attackers have always had to be hands on keyboards to do a lot of what they did. There's always been scripting involved, but that still, to get into a computer, was typically someone actually sitting there and actually trying to get in. So it's not so much that these are going to be better or worse attacks at the end of the day, but it does mean that they could be potentially trying 24/7 more than they already were. So I do think there's definitely something to take this under consideration for where we're at right now.
One of the things that Anthropic kind of highlighted in their post kind of talking about this was that a lot of the features that this attack relied on were things that a year ago either didn't exist or didn't kind of exist to the capabilities that they are now. How much of a role does that constant evolution play in something like this?
I mean, it's huge. And Anthropic, you had said in your opening, they're an AI company. Just to be clear, everyone knows ChatGPT, right? Everyone's heard of ChatGPT. They've heard of Google Gemini. Anthropic is another model. It's an LLM, which is the technical term for it. And they've been known for a while for being a really good model for things like coding and things of that nature, and kind of being very technical in nature. But yeah, a lot of the things they did, again, there's this MCP server term that is really, again, this kind of home base in this way that you're whatever your AI is doing kind of has a base of information. Everyone always worries about, and we've talked about it before, like hallucinations. If you have an MCP server, you kind of are grounding your AI agent and your AI in that information, and also allowing it to hop from tool to tool. But yeah, things like MCP servers weren't there. The intelligence, I mean, you can think about it your own way. Everyone that's touched AI, if you think about it from a few years ago when it first kind of hit the world, I mean, we're only, is it 2 or 3 years out? It's flying so fast. I can't remember the last time, it was December of a few years ago that like ChatGPT became the hot new thing, right? And it's incredibly different. And it gets better day by day, week by week. So yeah, again, just in the same way you can use it for good, the incredible things it's done, you have to always realize there's incredible things it's going to do for bad.
And so how do these AI companies respond to this then, knowing that they are now kind of seeing their tools used in this way?
So it's a struggle they've had for a while. It's been a common thing already, and even in this, what Anthropic wrote as to how this happened, they wrote a really interesting thing, is that in doing this and in writing their agents and making them, they tricked the models. And that's what they do. Because if you go into ChatGPT or these others and you say, write me ransomware, it is not going to do it. It has guidelines, in the same way that I'm sure there's things that are illegal in other fashions of the world. But if you say something like, I'd like to encrypt my files so no one else can see them, it'll write you something to do that, which is basically what ransomware is doing. And so it's really hard because they have to balance what guidelines they're going to do into how they might actually be used for good. So I think we're going to find, and again, it's almost the same struggle we've talked about of other things, from like, content on YouTube and things like that being put up quickly. So I think it's going to be a real struggle for them, where they want to give the full tool and the full incredible ability that these tools have, but they're going to have to find better ways of predicting when it's being used for bad things. And what it may end up being is seeing what tools it's connecting to, and because as much as these things can be used for good, and that seems to be what it talked about, is that it was kind of like making it sound like it was an agent working for a cybersecurity company. And they probably have to maybe find some ways of getting like approval to say that's real. I don't know how that would be done, but that's probably where we're headed, where if you are actually a cybersecurity company doing this, you probably need to have some proof to these companies that you are you and you're not an attacker. It's a tough challenge.
Yeah, and so what does that mean then for cybersecurity of our institutions and major companies?
Not to beat the drum we continue to beat on, but I mean, all the same things we've always talked about, the same security, the same controls that everybody should have, still need to be there. And in a way, this probably just makes it more serious than it was, and makes it that, the thing we've always talked about is that people think I'm a small company, I'm nothing, no one cares about me. But if you can literally have something completely automate they don't care your size. They're going to get something out of you. So it probably just makes that, what we talk about with being protected and having, looking at what controls you have in place, it probably just makes me say it louder, that it's the only possible way you can have to be protected, because there's always going to be vulnerabilities. You need to patch them and find them as quickly as possible. And especially if they're going to be literally potentially exploited 24/7 by AI, all you can do is try to protect yourself.
Right. Matt Rose, the CXO of Tech Rage IT in Winter Springs. We appreciate you talking with us this morning here on Fox 35 News Plus, and scaring us a little bit as well.
Happy to help. Sorry if I scared anybody.
We're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
All right, thanks.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus, a live look right now at the downtown Orlando. It is still Friday morning, but we are counting down the hours until the weekend. We are just about there, and there is a lot to do going on this weekend as we kind of get ready for the holiday season, and just a lot of things going on. It's going to be a perfect weekend to get out and enjoy some of those things. So it is time for our community crossroads, and that means it's time to bring in Ashley Edwards, who's the content execution manager with UNation. And Ashley, always good talking with you, and thanks for joining us on this Friday.
Hi, I am so excited to be here this Friday, and we have so many great things happening this holiday season, and it officially starts today. So yes. Let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off, and let's start with the Asian Lantern Festival at Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens. How cool is this?
The Asian Lantern Festival is honestly one of my favorite holiday events of the entire year. You'll step into a glowing world of color, and with it, the Asian Lantern Festival Into the Wild, it is a 3/4-mile trail that winds through over 10,000 LED light displays with larger-than-life lantern sculptures of your favorite animals. They have brand new lantern displays this year, including one of my favorite animals, the axolotl, which is such a random animal to have a light display, but I'm so excited to see it, represented here. The event starts tonight, November 14th, and it runs all the way through January 18th. So you even get a little post-holiday vibes here with this event. Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens. The event runs from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Come a little bit late and explore the
I think we were having some a little bit of lagging issues there, Ashley, but you were telling us the times. It was the last thing we were able to make out. The times that folks can kind of check out the Lantern Festival.
Yes, Wi-Fi, we love service, but it's from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay, and so a lot of fun. It's really well done. One of those things, too, where you can go, you can get some hot chocolate, sip on it while you walk around. Just a really cool holiday event for the whole family.
Yes, for the entire family. It's such a great event with really special food offerings, and the hot chocolate is so, so good.
Now, talk about what's going on at Gaylord Palms.
Yes, Gaylord Palms is another classic Florida holiday event. They are kicking off with their Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer themed ice event. This immersive 20,000 square foot holiday experience features over 6,700 blocks of ice, and yes, I said 6'7", transformed by more than 40 master artisans that took over 12,000 hours carving to create all these intricate details for this event. It's a stunning showcase, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is such a holiday classic movie that fans of all ages is going to really get to enjoy this experience. But I do recommend bundling up. It is kept at 9 degrees Fahrenheit in there, very, very cold. So they do have those iconic blue parkas for you to wear, but highly recommend maybe bringing some gloves, bringing some headgear, anything to keep you warm so you can focus on the fun and not the chills.
That is great advice for people who haven't been before. It's so impressive to see, and there's just something about kind of walking through there and getting that full experience with the cold.
I know, and my favorite part is the slides. They have these huge, like 2-story slides that you can just slide down. It's great for the kids to get out the energy for those parents. That's a nice pro tip. But also, like, it's fun for the adults too. Make sure you guys hop on the slides.
Yeah, exactly. So from being cold inside to being not so cold outside, we know Warped Tour also going on this weekend in Orlando.
Warped Tour is back for the first time in 7 years. Garrett, we have not had Warped Tour in Orlando since 2018, which is absolutely wild. And they are bringing back all of the pop punk, emo, and alt rock nostalgia that you guys have been waiting for. So break out your favorite band tees, dust off your Vans. It's been a hot second, and head back to Tinker Field for Warped Tour this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Again, first time since August of 2018, we're hosting it. This is a big deal, Orlando. Some of those really big band names are 303, A Day to Remember, All Time Low, Bowling for Soup, Boys Like Girls, Yellow Card, We the Kings, Young Gravy, and more. And I hope I hit a little bit of that nostalgia with some of those names. I'm personally so excited to see All Time Low. I've been a fan of theirs since Dear Maria, Count Me In 2009. But it's not just music happening here. They have a Warped Tour museum to celebrate 30 years of Warped Tour history. They have the Artist Alley where you can shop for your favorite band merchandise and also potentially get the chance to meet your favorite artists with some meet and greets. They have a sponsorship village with free activations and free giveaways. We love free things with their big name sponsors like Vans, Hot Topic, Kona Big Wave, and White Claw. And an extremes sports section. Because yes, they are having a skate park and you'll get the chance to watch professionals perform high-flying skate demos to BMX tricks. It's going to be absolutely insane out there, Orlando. I'm so excited for this weekend.
You can tell it's been a while since the last time that this happened because the most recent file video we have of this, they're still using cash. So you know that it has been a while since Warped Tour was last back here. We also had the surprise announcement today, Hawthorne Heights. With their surprise, going to be doing a surprise set there. So
even I missed that one. Oh my gosh, yeah. Wait, I'm finding out live right now.
So a lot of excitement for this one, Ashley, but those aren't the only things going on this weekend. If folks want to learn more about some other things, where can they find out about the events and more weekend plans?
Of course. Well, you guys can download the free UNation app to make all of your plans this weekend and beyond. We have everything from events to local business highlights and hidden gems. So everything that you need created for you by us. So you guys can make sure to download the app and stay connected with us on social media at Stuff to Do in Orlando. And we'll see you next week to help you make the most out of your weekend.
Ashley Edwards, Content Execution Manager with UNation. Always good talking with you for our community crossroads. And Thanks for joining us today. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, you guys.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. Give you a live look right now at the Kia Center, the home of the Orlando Magic, where tonight the Magic going to host the Brooklyn Nets in another NBA Cup game tonight at home. But they're going to be doing so a little bit shorthanded. So joining us to talk about that and some other sports previews for the weekend, we're going to bring in Sean Green. Sean, always good talking with you, and we appreciate you joining us this morning.
Appreciate you guys having me as always. It's a good time to be in Orlando for sports because we got a lot of it.
We do. A lot going on, and we'll get into that. But let's start with the news that I don't think anyone wanted to hear, and that's that Paolo is not going to be playing tonight.
No, he is not. He's got a left groin strain. He got that against the Knicks on Wednesday. So it's the positive thing is it doesn't seem like it is too serious. Nothing was really torn. It's just a strain. So they're going to keep monitoring him in the next couple weeks, if not the next couple days. But he will be out tonight against the Nets in an important game, a play-in game, which I know is kind of the new craze in the NBA the last couple of years. So he will not be playing tonight.
Franz is going to be playing, but he's going to be wearing a face mask.
I mean, yes, he is going to be wearing a face mask. He broke his nose in the game on Monday, or a part of the nose. I don't think he's going to have to wear this mask for too long, but he looks killer in the mask. I'll say that. He looks like a baller, and he showed it on Wednesday against the Knicks, putting 28 up and looking good doing it. So if he wants to play like that all the time with the mask on, so be it.
Yeah, we are seeing this Magic team starting to play a little bit better. After a bit of a rough start. What do you think is kind of behind this improvement?
You know, I've said it. Like, I've come on this show and said, like, listen, at the end of the day, it's going to take a little bit of time, right? It's not as simple as, oh, you got Desmond Bane, everything's going to work out, right? It does take time. But I think the big thing is, I said I was shocked that the Magic's defense was as bad as it was. I said the offense is going to take some time. Defense, there's no reason why the defense should be this bad. And I think you saw it Wednesday against New York. The defense is starting to look like Orlando Magic defense. I think they finally understood there was probably some frustration of why is the offense not easier, right? This offense should just click, right? But it's not that easy. And I think the players have officially kind of accepted that, and that's now making them focus on the defense and not so much offensive struggles. So I think they're 5-2 in their last 7 games. They still have a long way to go. But I think if you start looking towards the future and how this team's playing right now, if they keep playing like this, then all those things that we were talking about before the season will come to fruition.
How much are they going to miss Paolo tonight? And does that throw things kind of out of whack after we have seen them take some steps forward?
I'll be honest. I wouldn't necessarily listen, they're going to miss. He's one of the best players in the NBA. So you're going to miss Paolo. You are playing, in my opinion, the worst team in the NBA, though, tonight in the Brooklyn Nets. So I think the positive is you didn't really need him tonight. And maybe I'll eat my words later if they go lose tonight. But I think this is a game where it's like, okay, he's not playing tonight. But the stretch coming up, they're playing some tough teams coming up in the next 5 games after this. That's kind of where you're looking at it and saying Paolo would be needed. And he might. They're really going to be monitoring him every day. So there's a chance that it's only a couple games missed here. But I also think this will be really good to really get some experience without a 1 or a 2 player, right? If Paolo gets hurt at some point in this year, if Franz goes down or Desmond Bane goes out, I think these types of reps are important, and it's good that it's coming against a team that, at the end of the day, you're far superior than.
Yeah, good point there. Let's shift gears here and talk a little UCF football. We know it has been a bit of a rough season. They've got a tough one tomorrow, Sean.
Yeah, I just recorded my podcast because it was 20 minutes of me, for lack of a better term, just saying how bad it's going to be tomorrow. So that's probably why we started with the Magic today. But yeah, UCF.
That's exactly why, actually. Yeah,
I don't blame you guys, and frankly, I would do the same thing. But UCF playing Texas Tech tomorrow, the number 6 team in the country. In my opinion, I think they can make it far in the college football playoff. I think they're going to win the Big 12. So there's not much positive. You can try and get it out of me. I'll try and find something, but there's not much positive for UCF going into tomorrow's game. They are the far inferior team. They are the Brooklyn Nets of this matchup. So it's what I can say about UCF at this moment.
And that game, 3:30 tomorrow afternoon on Fox. We just really sold people on reasons to tune in and watch it. UCF 24-point underdogs right now. Do they have any shot? What is something? Let me say it this way. We're going to be positive here. We're going to try to be positive here.
Let's do it.
What would they have to do to pull off an upset against this top 10 team?
They would have to have every single player on the roster play their best game, and play out of their mind. UCF, it's not even just the fact they're playing Texas Tech. It's the fact that they're playing them on the road. I do encourage everybody to watch the game on Fox. It should be entertaining. You're going to see at least one good team play. And UCF, who knows? Like I said, the best thing that could happen is UCF only loses by a couple scores, like a couple touchdowns, make it a 14-point game. And I know that sounds very negative, but I actually think that would be a positive, which I know is not saying a lot, but I do. UCF has not played well on the road at all. They were on the road a couple weeks ago against Baylor, a game that most people thought UCF could win or have a chance to win, and they lost 30-3. And, newsflash, Baylor is not anywhere close to the talent of Texas Tech. So I think the chance that UCF wins is if they play everybody their most important and perfect game possible. But the likelihood of that happening is small. But it's, again, I would tune into Fox at 3:30, see what happens, because, again, it is sports. Anything can happen.
That's right. There we go. We salvaged it and found something positive there. And here's the thing for UCF. They have another game against a BYU, another ranked opponent for their last game of the season. So still a rough road ahead, or a tough road ahead for the Knights.
Yeah, they have Oklahoma State next week, which is a game that everybody is just kind of circling as a win. And then, your final game is in Provo against BYU, which, again, if UCF wants to go to a bowl game, they'll need to win at least 2 of these last 3, which many are not expecting them to do. But I think if you could beat Oklahoma State next week, then you leave yourself a chance to beat BYU. But you're playing 2 of the top 15 teams in the country in your final 3 weeks. Not looking great for the Knights, but again, anything can happen.
Yeah, kind of dug themselves into a hole at this point when you have 2 really tough opponents in your last 3 games and need 2 wins out of it. So we will see what happens. Sean Green, the host of Charge On, a UCF football podcast. We appreciate you joining us this morning here on Fox 35 News Plus.
Thanks, Garrett. I appreciate you guys.
And as we go to break, we'll give you another live look at the Kia Center, where the Magic getting ready for that game coming up tonight. We're getting ready to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we still have a lot to come as we turn the page to Friday afternoon. So keep it right here on Fox Local and YouTube, and we will be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. We yesterday took you inside the State Board of Education meeting that was going on in Crawfordville in Wakulla County, where the State Board kind of went head-to-head and facing off against the Alachua County School Board Vice Chair for some controversial comments she made on social media in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk. That wasn't the only thing on the agenda, and so we want to kind of circle back to that meeting yesterday and bring a couple of other things to your attention. They did vote yesterday unanimously to ratify what's being called the Phoenix Declaration curriculum across the state of Florida. This is curriculum that was created by the Conservative Heritage Foundation with an emphasis on parents' rights and transparency. Part of this, they say, students should learn about America's founding principles and roots in the broader Western and Judeo-Christian traditions. You're going to hear in this clip from the Education Commissioner talking about it. They also took public comment and heard from a number of folks speaking about this as well. This is from yesterday's State Board of Education meeting.
If you look at the actual principles that this Phoenix Declaration is putting forth, I don't know how anyone could disagree with parental choice and responsibility, curriculum transparency, academic excellence, instruction on objective truth. These principles are principles that everyone across the board on both sides of the aisles can agree with. And so I'm excited to push this forward through the State Board of Education as a framework to continue to talk about what this board's vision is for education. We often call out what is problematic in education, pushing an ideology over indoctrination, whether that's the instruction of sexual orientation and gender identity in elementary schools, or divisive concepts like critical race theory and DEI that treats people differently based on the way God created them. We want to remove that from the education system. Well, this talks about what we want to see. We want to see parents empowered. We want to see curriculum transparency. We want to see academic excellence in all of our students. And so I think this is a great opportunity for this board to be the first in the nation to adopt this declaration, affirmatively communicating what we want to see in education.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll just add a couple of points. You know, so often many of us are accused, particularly on the conservative side of the political ideologies, not getting into party here, but just on sort of principle, are accused of being against something. To the point that we're often mocked for stopping progress, right? What some in the community, some in the country believe is inevitable progress towards some end that, quite frankly, they may not fully appreciate or understand. And we'll get into, I know we're going to address communism standards and some of that, but I think at some level, we've seen historically the ends, the inevitable end of some of these ideological viewpoints. And I feel it's important. We just finished a very contentious discussion, right, about board's responsibilities, that we, as a state, continue to do two things. One is, I'd like to be for something. I think it's important to be for something. We may not all agree on what that something is. We may not agree with every principle of that something. But we're putting a flag in the sand and saying, these are the things that we believe are important. And Commissioner, to your point, I think public education in a large part has forgotten parents. It's forgotten the role and the primacy of parents. It's the parents that direct the education of their children. That gets facilitated by the school that parents choose to send their kids to. Sometimes that becomes the default school. The public school becomes the one they're zoned for. But just because you go to a school you're zoned for doesn't mean you abdicate your rights or your parental responsibilities. And I think it's important that we recognize that and be for that. The next principle is transparency and accountability. Our schools should be transparent with the public, both in how they spend their money, but in what they're teaching. They should be accountable to the public for how they spend their money and how they're teaching and the results that they're getting, or the lack of results. We've seen evidence, and I think during COVID, parents got the first look at sort of the peek under the covers or behind the scenes of what was going on in public education. There were those that had been yelling into the wind for years about what was happening in our schools, but it wasn't until Zoom and parents sitting in the same room with their kids and listening to what was going on that they realized, oh my gosh, those crazy people on Facebook or whatever that were saying these terrible things are happening in school were actually happening. It shouldn't be happenstance that transparency for parents happens. It should be deliberate. You know, the purpose of education is discovery of truth. There are objective truths. Our students need to understand they can know those things. They can be taught those things. Truth is not rooted in an ideology. It is what it is. And we shouldn't allow we shouldn't allow ideologies to take over. and replace their version of truth with objective truth. And this goes on and on. Obviously, this is important because character building, cultural transmission, the idea, I think President Reagan said, we're never more than a generation away from losing freedom. If our students don't understand how the framework of our constitutional republic is designed and how it operates and how they can participate as citizens, it leads to frustration. It leads to nihilism. And unfortunately, we're seeing that in a lot of youth. Couple that with social media, and it's like a powder keg. I'm concerned about those things. We have got to transmit the knowledge of our history, warts and all, to future generations. America is not perfect, but you cannot point to another society in the history of mankind that is more perfect than the United States of America, has provided opportunity for more of its citizens. No, it wasn't perfect. Certainly wasn't in the beginning. And a lot of people died to make it better. A lot of people have given everything for the idea that is America. And it doesn't mean it's perfect today. Can't remember who said it. It may have been you, Commissioner. It's an imperfect society occupied by imperfect human beings. We don't agree on very much. There's a phrase that you probably have heard before, maybe you haven't, but it's called tyranny of the majority. And as interesting to many young people as a pure democracy sounds, we should be able to vote on everything. Our founders were wary of a pure democracy, and they set up a constitutional framework and a republic to protect us, to protect the rights of the minority from the majority. How many citizens understand that? How many citizens want to preserve that? We've failed generations in the United States, in my view. Share a quick personal story. After Parkland, met with some family and community members, and I'm not going to share names, but the lack of understanding of how the legislative process works at the state and federal level was mind-boggling to me. People didn't understand the difference between a representative and a governor, a congressperson, a senator, the President of the United States. They didn't understand how the process worked. These are adults that are operating and functioning in our society. They vote. It should terrify all of us. So my hope, my belief, my strong belief is that the Phoenix Declaration will bring us back to at least agreeing on the objectives without prescribing the hows. That's up for debate. We'll have time and opportunity to discuss those. As we do, we've got to unite as Americans around the ideas that were fundamental to the formation of this country and have provided freedom to more people around the world, these ideals that we hold dear, hopefully. So board members, with that, any questions or comments from the board? Okay.
I'll share some, Chair.
Member Fulganoli.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you for that. I say I'm trying not to speak so much. I know time is a little tight, so I'm trying to give an opportunity. I did want to ask some questions. I know we got emails or pushback. So, Commissioner, what concerns were you hearing with this more than anything? If you could share some of those concerns.
More than anything, it's simply the affiliation with the Heritage Foundation. I haven't seen folks who disagree with the principles that I articulated, whether it's parental choice and responsibility, transparency in our schools, accountability, character formation, academic excellence. It's just simply been about the affiliation.
Got it. And I totally agree with that, Chair. I feel like not only us, but also school boards across the state are always playing defense, right? And it's time that you play offense. You have to tell people what the end goal is, what is our goal. So with that being said, also with the declaration, Commissioner, how does this align with our Constitution and the statutory framework of public education?
Great question. I think, the idea of a state board of education is to set the policy across the state. And what this does through this declaration is communicates what this board emphasizes is important in education policy. I was asked about a specific example, and I provided this yesterday when I was interviewed. I think it was Action Jack's News. With respect to textbook adoption, for example, the department is already doing this, but by codifying this in this statement, you've now communicated a policy you would like to continue in perpetuity. And what I mean by that, with textbook adoptions, there are two principles at play. Number one, objective truth. And so when the Department of Education, through the folks who evaluate these textbooks, are reviewing history books, for example, they're making sure that they align with objective truth. And with respect to transparency and accountability, that textbook adoption process, all relevant, all education stakeholders, any member of the public is allowed to provide feedback. So those textbooks are actually provided for people to review as members of the public, to provide comment and to provide feedback to the Department of Education. And so that's one example of something we already do at the department, where we will continue to see academic transparency through the curriculum materials and objective truth being implemented in our processes.
Understood. And I think that's a big concern always for me is communication as well, right? How are we communicating? So I think two-phase question on this one. Number one, is how will this be communicated to our state? Will it be memo? Will it be email? Teachers, staff? Who's getting, direction? And then also, does this have any teeth? This is not a law, right? So this is what is this that's going to be holding people accountable? What is it really driving here?
This is not the first time the state board has adopted a similar resolution. The board has previously done this with the rule related to Title IX, and I know Vice Chair Byrd at the time sort of led the charge in making sure that the board had an opportunity to make an affirmative public statement as it relates to the protection of women, whether it's in bathrooms, whether it's in sports or locker rooms. And so what the board is doing today, what the board is voting on today, is taking an affirmative step so that the public understands this board's position as it relates to public educational policy I'd like to see in our state.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. Seeing no questions, can I get a motion to ratify and adopt the Phoenix Declaration, American Vision for Education?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second. Before we take a vote, members, we've got some public comment. All right, so just a reminder to those that are commenting, please keep your comments related to the action item that we are discussing currently. I will call your name and the name of the person following, so if we can keep moving the meeting forward, you'll have 1 minute to comment on this action item. And I apologize if I mispronounce anybody's name at the beginning, but I believe it's Madeline Houston. Austin, that could be Austin, I'm sorry. And Jane McNulty, you're next. You're recognized for 1 minute, Ms. Austin.
Sorry about that. And you said my name, it's Madeline Austin, and I come from a long line of educators. I applaud the elected board members for their commitment to show up for the sake of educating our children, each and every one of you who was elected. Our children deserve to be taught how to think, not what to think. And that's why I object to some of the things in the Phoenix Declaration, because ideology was a word used. My background is different than your background, sir. No disrespect. My background is different than Miss Tina's background. We have to allow all of that to be part of history and background. Every child should be included. Every child comes from a different family. Shoot, I'm not saying everything I wanted to say. Jeremy Clipper's and Charlie Kirk's rights were First Amendment rights were never denied. As you all know, you were in St. Augustine. Our First Amendment rights are sacred, and the hypocrisy of denying these rights because of political differences is shameful, absolutely shameful. I was sick to my stomach after leaving St. Augustine, and I feel like that ideology is going to come into the Phoenix Declaration, and it's dangerous. Having said that, I don't like the way Tina Certain or Dr. Sarah Rockwell have been persecuted. It reminds me very much.
All right, I want to get you now to the Orlando Pride here. This is head coach Seb Hines speaking ahead of the team's playoff game on Sunday against Gotham FC, the second round of the playoffs. Go ahead and listen in.
I guess just kind of in preparation for a game like this, you've got the team ready for the last game, win or go home. How much of a boon is it just to have that last year in place where you were playing in the semifinals at home last year against a very good team in Kansas City, now coming in against very similar situations, just having that in the back of their heads, just having that experience?
Yeah, I mean it's similar but different as well. Last year was a phenomenal year. This year it's been an up and down, but we're finishing the season on a high. And so, yeah, we want to continue that momentum that we've had in the last couple of games. We've been playing playoff football for a long period of time now with some of the teams that we've played in this last stretch. Yeah, but it's win or go home, do you know what I mean? So it's like, you've got to give absolutely everything, and that's what the players have done all season. It's no different to what we've been challenging all season long against some really good opponents. But yeah, we're prepared, we're ready, we're excited, and it's all to play for.
Knowing what you know about this group, how badly do they want to defend? What does title defense mean to them? I mean,
it's winning, right? It's not about defending anything. You can't take away what we already won last year. It's about winning again and getting another championship, getting another ring, and that's what we're all aspiring to do.
You know, Marta showed incredible heart and physicality in the last game. Is that kind of representative about what the team is willing to give at this moment in time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's been phenomenal, and even for her to do it so late on in the game and have that desire to get herself in the box and win a penalty and close the game out epitomises what this team is about, and also epitomises what Amarta's about as well, to have that sort of energy and desire so late on in the game, even though, you know, she's probably tired, the team's tired, but it was such a relief for everyone to win that penalty, and then to give that ball to Lou, and Lou to have that moment is so inspiring for everyone. And we're just obviously really happy with the outcome, but I think it is the heartbeat of this team. It is who we are as a culture, and we're going to need all those values and principles and everything to go out there and win the game on Sunday.
Seb, you mentioned when I spoke to you before the Seattle game, that the thing about the playoffs is that anything could happen. Are you surprised to see how other results in the playoffs have kind of come to fruition, especially with Gotham knocking out Kansas City, and how do you kind of approach that, knowing that, you know, same thing, anything could happen in this game against Gotham on Sunday?
Yeah, I think you know, there's a reason why the top 8 teams are in playoffs. They've been the most consistent teams all season long, but that goes away once you get into the postseason. It's one game, it's winner takes all, and you have to be at your best. And I think, you know, people probably took it for granted how difficult it was last year for us to win the Shield and to win the championship, and here we are, you know, finishing 4th in the league, but we're able to host 2 home games. Gotham is a very good opponent. They have some really good, talented players, and we'll be tested, and I think that's the fun and the excitement that's around this environment, that we could be potentially going to another championship game.
What did you see from Gotham that really impressed you about Kansas City that, you know, you talked to your team about?
They're a good team. You know, one's a good coach as well. That goes without saying. He makes sure his teams are well organised, and you know, puts his players in the best positions to be successful. But I think they had something to prove. You know, everyone wrote them off going into that game. Everyone thought it was going to be, you know, Kansas being the number 1 seed against Gotham who's the number 8 seed, and they took that personally. So, I think that epitomises their group as well. You know, when you're seeded, it doesn't really matter. You look around the league, teams are beating teams away from home, teams are winning at home. So it really does depend on the game, and that's the most important part, is that play your best game in front of you, and that's what we'll be doing. We'll give it absolutely everything on that field on Sunday.
So you kind of talked about the up and down season thus far, having the momentum that you've had the last couple games, especially the last game, having that moment with Lou scoring the penalty. How much does that just increase that momentum, just on a mentality side of the team?
Yeah, I think, you know, we went through a rough patch in the season, and I think it really epitomises this team and this culture and the mentality of the team as well, to like not give up and, you know, keep going, keep pushing, go through those adverse moments that really test your character as an individual. So to go through that is almost a good thing as well. But like you said, it keeps that momentum. It keeps us, you know, winning and playing for wins and giving absolutely everything to put ourselves in the best position to go forward. And like I said, in the last don't know, 5 or 6 games we've been playing that sort of type of football, and yeah, we've got 2 more games to see it through.
Finally said playing at home, Aaron Co. Can you just talk about how important it is to have fans come out? Oh, it should be a nice day on Sunday and give you and the team that support.
Yeah, it's massive. You know, I think that's you know, part of the reason you want to finish in that top 4 to host home games, and it only works if you have the fans there to support you. They were phenomenal against Seattle in the last game. We needed them, especially towards the end, you know, when teams like Seattle are pushing to get that equalizing goal, and just to create that atmosphere where it can be intimidating for the opponent. So we hope that we get a full house. I know, you know, there's going to be a good crowd there. We need to do our job as well to put a great performance on, but yeah, the fans are so important for the success of the team.
Great. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
Thanks, Seth.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, mate. See you.
Recording stopped.
See you.
Coach Seb Hines speaking there. Big game against Gotham FC coming up on Sunday at NWSL Stadium. We're also expecting to hear from a couple of Pride players as well, speaking after their practice here this morning. So we are staying tuned for that. So keep it here on Fox Local and YouTube, and we will listen in as soon as that begins.
Thais is here. Is there any needed for Lou or for any of us? So feel free to use her if you would like. Lou, I'm going to hit record. I'll start, and then I'll give it to the room, okay?
Recording in progress.
And to wrap up, we're joined by midfielder Luana. Lou, a semifinal match at home at Aaron Stadium. Can you just tell us how excited you and the team are for the matchup against Gotham?
We are thrilled. I think we worked so hard to reach the semifinals, and we are excited to play home with our supporters there to push us through it. And we know it's going to be a tough match. Gotham is a great team, but I feel like we are ready for the challenge.
We'll go to the room.
Lou, it's been a heck of a week for you. You get your first goal with the Pride in the last minutes of the Seattle game, and then you get a new contract. Just kind of, what's this week been like for you to have all of this happen?
It's been a mix of emotions. I'm so happy that I'm continuing my journey here with Orlando. I think it's a club that have been with me and supported me through the tough moments, and now I'm ready to continue this journey and help the team to achieve the goals they set for next year and this year too.
Lou, this team is close to be competing in another final. Obviously last year the team won it all. To be this close, obviously one win away from returning to a championship. What's the feelings like in that locker room right now, knowing that the team has really made it this far in
the season, in the playoffs especially?
I think we're excited. We know that the season has had some ups and downs for us, but I think all that happened brought us together to this moment and prepared us, and we just feel we are ready for the challenge, and we are excited to, as I said, to play at home with our supporters, and I think it's going to be a great game, and we are going to fight for this spot in the finals.
What is the intensity like of a match that is win or else? And how is this team equipped to kind of handle that intensity?
I think one of our... Como é que fala? Tipo, uma palavra que a gente usa sempre.
The word that we always use?
Yeah, it's I think a word that we always use here is whatever it takes. So we are willing to do whatever it takes to get this win and advance to the finals.
When it comes to playoff football, obviously, just kind of following up to Jamie's question, I mean, at this point, anything can happen on Sunday. Obviously, win, you advance, lose, the season's over. I don't know, is there a sense of pressure to try to go out there and try to get a result, especially against a Gotham team that eliminated Kansas City, the best team in the regular season this year?
I think when it comes to the playoffs, it's all about details. So we need to be really concentrated and like 100% in the game. We know everything can happen, but we are trying to do our best and take the chances we get, and especially early in the game, and use our home advantage. So I think we are prepared, and we are now setting down the last details for the game, and we are really looking forward to it.
This team has been in this situation before last year. How much does that experience help just on a mental side with preparing for a game like this?
I think it's great. I think most of the players that are here now have experienced this before, not only here but in other clubs. I think we had a good mix of experienced players and young players that are playing their first playoffs too. But I think it collectively, it's we are used to the pressure. We are used to the big games, and we are looking forward to it.
What is dangerous about Gotham? What do they do really well that you guys have to defend against?
I think they have experienced players, and they are also used to these big games. So they have fast attackers, and they like to play forward. They are really offensive team, and they like to press us high. So we need to Can I start over?
Sure. Yeah.
Como é que fala anular?
Cancelar?
Não. Anular os pontos fortes deles, anular essa pressão. Okay, I'll start over. I think Gotham is a great team. They were champions 2 years ago, and we need to be prepared for, because they are really offensive They have really offensive players, and they go forward with 100% of, and they press hard. So we need to be prepared to beat this first pressure line. So I think this is the points we need to be aware of.
What does it mean to the club when you go out in the stadium and you see all those fans just pulling for you guys?
It gives us so much energy. I think we love our fans, and we love this stadium. It's our home fortress, we say. And like Marta says, nobody's allowed to have fun there. So every time we play there, we know that it's going to be a great game, and then the fans are going to push us and support us through it all. And this brings so much strength to us.
We're going to go to the Zoom.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yep, all good.
Yeah.
Okay, hi Lana. This season with Orlando has obviously been very different from the last one. The team has faced a totally different set of challenges this season compared to last year, and yet you're still finding yourselves in a semifinal. I'm just curious what you've learned about the team this year that is different from last season as a result of the different challenges that you had to face collectively to get to this point.
I think the season we had last year was extraordinary, and it's the kind of season that doesn't happen often. So we were already with the mindset that it was not going to be easy. This league is not easy. We know the competitiveness is high, and I think we learned to go through the losses and the hard moments, but we learned to still keep our identity through it all, and the belief we have in our game, the belief that we have that this team has something special, that we don't have only one player. We have everybody, and we know the responsibility is in everyone. The girls that start a game and the girls that come from the bench. And we know that this is our strength, and this is what brought us here, and we believe that this is what can get us through the final two.
Thank you, Luana. Best of luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions there for Luana, midfielder with the Pride, talking about the game this coming Sunday against Gotham FC in the semifinals of the NWSL playoffs, and was also asked about how things are different between this season and last season. She just re-signed a new contract through the 2026 NWSL season as well, and you heard her mention that as well. We're going to take a quick break here on Fox 35 News Plus. Still standing by to hear from other players, I believe, that we expect here. So keep it right here on Fox Local, and we'll be right back.
watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. Want to let you know that Orlando Pride media availability has wrapped up, so you didn't miss anything from that. Again, we are getting ready for that semifinal game at Interco Stadium coming up on Sunday, so a lot of excitement for that. Before we took you live to Orlando, we were listening in to part of yesterday's State Board of Education meeting where they were talking about this controversial Phoenix Declaration and the curriculum that will be instituted across the state of Florida, created by the Heritage Foundation. Ended up being adopted unanimously by the State Board of Education yesterday. You heard some of what the board members and the education commissioner said about it before we took you to the Orlando Pride, but we did not hear the public comments. I want to get you back to that meeting from yesterday afternoon where we heard from some folks speaking during public comment ahead of that decision being made.
You said my name, it's Madeline Austin, and I come from a long line of educators. I applaud the elected board members for their commitment to show up for the sake of educating our children, each and every one of you who was elected. Our children deserve to be taught how to think, not what to think. And that's why I object to some of the things in the Phoenix Declaration, because ideology was a word used. My background is different than your background, sir. No disrespect. My background is different than Miss Tina's background. We have to allow all of that to be part of history and background. Every child should be included. Every child comes from a different family. Shoot, I'm not saying everything I wanted to say. Jeremy Clipper's and Charlie Kirk's First Amendment rights were never denied. As you all know, you were in St. Augustine. Our First Amendment rights are sacred, and the hypocrisy of denying these rights because of political differences is shameful, absolutely shameful. I was sick to my stomach after leaving St. Augustine, and I feel like that ideology is going to come into the Phoenix Declaration, and it's dangerous. Having said that, I don't like the way Tina Certain or Dr. Sarah Rockwell have been persecuted. It reminds me very much of the McCarthy era. You're all talking communism now.
Thank you, Ms. Austin.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Just a reminder, if we can keep the comments to the action item that we're addressing as a board. Ms. McNulty, and then Ms. Peck, you're next. You have 1 minute. Thank you.
I object to the adoption of the Phoenix Declaration. And yet again, the MAGA Education Commissioner and the MAGA Board of Education are attacking, threatening, and bullying educators like Tina Certain over their protected free speech and on their private social media if it doesn't agree with MAGA views. You might as well rename yourselves the MAGA Private Social Media Police. The latest forbidden free speech regards those questioning the canonization of MAGA white Christian nationalist Charlie Kirk, who actually championed free speech. I don't need to repeat his racist and misogynistic remarks that he freely spoke while indoctrinating young people on college campuses. You can Google that. According to MAGA, free speech is only for MAGA, but not for anyone else. Prove me wrong.
Thank you, Ms. McNulty. Ms. Peck, followed by Maggie McDonald. Ms. Peck, you're recognized.
Thank you. Delana Peck from Gainesville, Florida. I grew up in Argentina from age 6 to 16. During that time in 1973, Juan Perón, the dictator, fascist dictator from World War II era, was allowed to return from his exile in Spain. I'm bringing this up because at that time, he became president and our education changed dramatically. We were being indoctrinated. This Phoenix Declaration reminds me an awful lot of that. The fact that the Heritage Foundation wrote it, that it's out of Project 2025, this is indoctrination dressed up in pretty words. The principles sound wonderful. How could anybody not want to go along with those? But be careful what you try to put in here, because it is indoctrination. And also, I came up here to support Tina Certain. You guys are really something.
Thank you, Ms. Peck. Maggie McDonald, followed by Miosha Powell.
I had a nice little speech all prepared to defend the Alachua County School Board. However, given this, I just have a couple quick comments. Objective truth is rarely objective. The Heritage Foundation is also Project 2025. White Christian nationalist is scumming all over it. And finally, you are concerned about communists, as am I. But what about fascists? Fascists have done just as much, if not more, damage to this world than communism. But I never hear fascism discussed. And we are living right now in a situation of fascism. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McDonald. Miosha Powell, followed by Carol Guaranskas. Ms. Powell.
Good afternoon. My name is Miosha Powell. I'm just here to actually in support of the ratification. A lot of times, I've been in school board meetings, and a lot of times parents do want more control as it relates to the portion of it that relates to parental control. I've seen at school board meetings where parents are condescended to their face, or they're made to feel like they have no control over what their children are going to learn, or what they're going to be taught, or what's going to be undermined. The things that they're taught in their homes that will be undermined by teachers. Not all teachers are bad. There are some that are great. But I've seen it with my own two eyes. Moreover, as it relates to citizenships and things of that nature, I just want to point to what happened at UC Berkeley. That's just to give you an understanding. When we don't prepare people to understand and be able to have civil discourse and understand what this nation is really about, then things like what happened at UC Berkeley happen everywhere. And it's not just one person's problem. It's all of our problem. It's at the body at large, citizens at large. We'll have to deal with this in many facets. So I'll save my other comments for the next item. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Powell. After Ms. Guaranskas, apologies if I messed that up, I'm sure I did, Kathleen Murray.
We don't need a statement to ensure that our school employees help our students, our children, be kind and respectful citizens every day. Educators and parents know well that we are charged with helping children grow and learn to be their best selves. What will change by adopting this statement? About transparency, the department has set up a system whereby voucher school curriculum and performance is entirely opaque, and where parents and businesses can legally exploit tax dollars for personal gain, with the department's sponsorship of school voucher programs and the chaos of so-called choice at the expense of common sense. Privatization of public schools does not serve the children in public or private schools or Florida's taxpayers. What really matters to our students is increasing school funding and addressing absenteeism and student contact rather than adopting statements to signal our virtue.
Thank you. Ms. Murray, followed by Crystal Merle.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and members of the Board of Education. Kathleen Murray, State Education Director for Citizens Defending Freedom. CDF supports the adoption of the Phoenix Declaration, ensuring Florida will continue to lead the nation in reclaiming the true purpose of education, the formation of wise, virtuous, and free citizens. This declaration reminds us that education is not merely about test scores. It's about shaping character, cultivating truth, and strengthening the moral foundations of our republic. The Phoenix Declaration reaffirms that parents are the primary educators of their children. It calls for authentic partnership between families and schools built on transparency, accountability, and respect for parental choice. It grounds education in truth and goodness, teaching that objective truth exists, that character matters, and that virtue is essential to freedom. Thank you for offering Florida a clear, principled path forward, a commitment to educational excellence centered on the good, the true, and the beautiful.
Thank you. After Ms. Merrill, Jessica Carey. You're recognized.
Thank you. I had different comments prepared, but I think the point I wanted to make was already made for me today, so I just want to thank you all. I also want to give my full support to the Phoenix Declaration. I think it's critical that people understand not just what communism is, but the strategy under which it operates, which is dividing people into oppressed and oppressor categories. This also leads to totalitarian regimes, such as in Argentina with the Perones. I am a current resident of Argentina, married to an Argentine citizen, and I would say that this Phoenix Declaration is actually the antidote to totalitarian governments taking over. It supports civility, seeking truth, and defending truth. I would like to see an emphasis put also on pushing back against the rise of anti-Semitism that we're seeing both on the left and now starting to rise on some on the right. I think it comes back down to the same principles of oppressed oppressor and putting certain categories of identity into the oppressor class, and I think that needs to be emphasized within this declaration. So thank you.
Thank you. Jessica Carey, followed by Tim Marden.
I stand before you today as a proud Hispanic mom of a child of Alachua County Public Schools in support of this item, but I also traveled 2 hours to address a serious breach of public trust by board member Tina Certain. Her social media comments in public forums while in office show a clear pattern of racial and political bias towards white, Asian, and conservative community members, violating both the Florida Department of Educational Code of Ethics and professional conduct. These codes require officials to act in honesty, integrity, and fairness, to serve all families, not divide them. Yet, Ms. Certain's conduct has undermined confidence and created a deep mistrust across the community. Her comments today show she believes any and above all accountability for these standards. A close friend recently raised concerns online in a forum about her child, who has an IEP that includes transportation special needs, and was told by an ACPA employee to remove her post within hours. She declined. The very next school day, her child was told she could no longer remain at that school. No parent should fear retaliation and advocating for their child, no matter their needs. Instead of ACPS silencing parents from all of ACPS board should be listening, especially to issues like transportation delays.
Thank you, Ms. Carey. Thank you. Tim Marden, followed by Mary Helen Wheeler. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would support any standard that actually enforces Sunshine Law. One of the graphics from the earlier discussion brings that into, I think, the discussion here that the board needs to take a look at with regards to Sunshine. Even if Ms. Certain doesn't know that that is Sarah Rockwell, Rockwell certainly knows that it is Ms. Certain that she's speaking to. That was referred to a community action here or in Newberry, trying to do a community conversion charter school, and that was what that was about. There were many votes taken on that, also involving expenditures. So if this sets a standard, we can push back against any of that. I'm in full support. Thank you.
Ms. Wheeler, you're recognized.
I am Mary Helen Wheeler. I am a retired school teacher, 36 years in Alachua and Levy counties. I have son and daughter-in-law teaching now. I would ask that rather than make, and I'm voting, I would say vote no on this, because we're asking so much of our teachers right now and paying them so little for it. I would say, first of all, make Florida first in teacher pay rather than first in this, and then add more work to their load. They are working their butts off right now. I'm in the public schools regularly. I still go back, work with former colleagues. I work with my my children, reading books to the children in there. I would say, because we rank 50th in the, we should all be ashamed, 50th in the whole United States as to what we pay our teachers and what we are funding our children. Our reading scores are bad, and here we are trying to promote something like this, adding to the teachers' load. We're asking teachers become the parents. We have church schools that will take care of these issues that you all are trying to address. We have military schools that we're worried if we want to send our children to get that kind of training. And what I would ask you to do is to promote our teachers and talk to teachers about what you're discussing now. I don't know how often you include teachers, but you've got to do it, because you're not going to be able to keep teachers in Florida with this kind of addition to their load. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, members. Chris, is there any other comment? That's it. Okay. So, members, we have a motion to adopt, a motion to ratify and adopt the Phoenix Declaration, and a second. It's now time to vote. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Any opposed, say nay. The motion passes.
As you heard there, unanimous passage of the Phoenix Declaration there at the State Board of Education meeting yesterday. We're going to take a quick break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we will be right back after this.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. Let me give you a live look right now at Times Square in New York City. And right in the middle of your screen there, you see a New York Police Department building. And on one of those buildings that you are looking at in this live picture right now, this live look from New York City, the Volusia County Sheriff's Office is running a billboard trying to recruit New York City police officers to come to Volusia County and work for the Sheriff's Office. Let me give you a look at what that billboard looks like. Dear NYPD, sunny Florida is waiting. It has a QR code there saying serve a community that appreciates you, and giving the website for the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. This is a push that Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood began in the immediate aftermath of the election of Zohran Mamdani, the new New York City mayor-elect, who was just elected, a week and a half ago or so. And so Sheriff Chitwood has been vocal about his reasoning for this and trying to recruit officers. He had first talked about it, made some comments on social media, but now the big development there, that billboard is up in Times Square in direct line of sight when you step out of the New York City Police Department building that I showed you just a minute ago. Here is Sheriff Chitwood talking with us about his reasoning for this and the message that he hopes to send to those NYPD officers.
It is right there in Times Square. When the ball drops on New Year's Eve, it's going to drop right over the digital billboard that we have.
Perfect. And I know ever since the election for mayor that Mamdani won, that, I've seen you on Facebook, and now with this billboard recruiting anyone that wants to leave New York City. Volusia County is a lovely place to live and work. So is that basically your message? If you are law enforcement, you want a change of scenery, then Volusia County's ready and waiting?
Not only Volusia County, but the state of Florida. I think when you look at our billboard, it runs on an angle. So it says, "Dear NYPD, Florida awaits." What better place to raise your kid? What better place to work? What better state is so pro law enforcement? The governor passed a bill a couple of years ago that I don't think has any other state has even come close. If you want to come here as a new police officer, $5,000 signing bonus. There's school choice that will pay your tuition for your children. There are so many other things in there. You really need to take a look. I mean, what's going on in New York? You have a mayor that hates the cops. He hates law and order. He hates the Jews, and he hates American exceptionalism. Here in Florida, you can have it all. And if you come down here, a new hire has to go through 60 weeks of training, a little more. New hires, you can get down here in 8 to 12 weeks, and you're out on patrol, starting a new life. And I think it's incredible. The company that runs the billboard reached out to me, and they said, "Hey, we saw what you're talking about. We have some billboard space." I talked to my foundation, which is made up of a group of business people, and I said, "Hey, here's the offer. I don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent." And they're like, "For advertising, that's what they want to charge? We'll take care of it, Sheriff. You work on the messaging, and we'll take care of it." So we have it from last night, which was November 12th, all the way through January 31st of 2026. We change the message every week. We have invited some other sheriff's offices if they want to take a week, or a police department. I don't have many left. You can reimburse my foundation, but we're going to have the majority of it. And I think the ironic thing of it all is when you come out of the police station at Times Square, that billboard staring you right in the face.
So that was one of my next questions. Your foundation is paying this bill, so it's no taxpayer dollars going towards this?
Zero tax dollars. My foundation is a private group of folks that raise funds to help with technology, training, and resources. And they thought this was a good investment, and get the word out there that people might not come right away. They probably want to wait what's going on. The NYPD doesn't have a contract, so they're going to wait a little bit. We want to put it on their mind that we want good cops down here in Florida.
And just like last question on the kind of financials of it. Do you know how much it costs to rent this billboard?
But the foundation, it's a private entity. And they negotiated with the company, and I don't think it's fair to release that. I think the most important thing is that there's no tax dollars involved. I'm not a business person. It's relatively a good price there for what we're getting on Times Square. And think of this: how many law enforcement families will be in New York for Christmas, and when they look up, they're going to see Volusia Sheriff's Office advertised.
Perfect. I know this has only been up for a little bit of time, but your message has been going viral since that election. Have you already gotten some interest from people from New York, like applying to come work in Volusia County?
Interestingly, it's the parents, grandparents, and retired NYPD corrections. They're the ones I hear from the most. They're the ones that are giving me all the information about what's going on, because they left and they're down here. They're living like, "Sheriff, I want my son. I want my grandson. I want my daughter. I want them." I try to tell them what a great place this is to live and work. And you will be surprised at the support you'll get, not only from the sheriffs in this state, but from the elected officials and from the community.
That was Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood speaking with executive producer Josh Beck. And here's another live look at Times Square and at the New York City Police Department building there as well in Times Square. We're going to take a quick break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. Some great news for neighbors in Lake County, where a road into part of a Eustis neighborhood is now back open. We have talked quite a bit about what happened in the Spring Ridge Estates and the road in that neighborhood that had been closed since October 30th. So more than 2 weeks that the road had been closed after a culvert collapsed in that area, following the town of Eustis getting more than a foot of rain in some places. So a couple of days after that culvert collapsed, caused a bridge in that neighborhood to kind of give way, the sidewalk to collapse as well. They had to evacuate a number of homes because of that, and it was a situation that we've been watching for a while now. Now the project is done. There's still some work to do in that area, but this is great news for neighbors. And as Chief Mike Swanson told reporters last night, that road is now back open 2 weeks ahead of schedule. Here's what he had to say.
Proud to announce that this road is now open both lanes. This has been closed since October 30th. The delayed collapse from the rain event that we had back on October 27th at night. It was substantially damaged with the collapse. The damage was all the way to the midpoint of the culvert. The city met with the Homeowners Association. A couple of meetings went through, and I think we were cleared to start working on it. What day was that? I can't even remember. November 7th. So it's been 6 days. Once we got the okay to go on it, we pulled all our resources together, and we wanted to get these people back in their homes. So in 6 days, we rebuilt the culvert, redid the main water line going in, and we repaved the road and redid the roads and sidewalks. Right now, it is open, and when we're done doing this, we'll move the cameras all the way so people can start driving on it, which is a great thing. The job was actually completed at about 3:30 today, so we're really close, close to going to another day if we wouldn't have got it done. So we're very fortunate that today worked. With that, there's still a lot of work to be done on the bridge. Incorrectly calling it a bridge, the culvert. There's still a lot of work to go on it, so I don't want people to think when they come in here, wow, is this it? No, we still have to pour some sidewalks on the one side. We wanted to make one side good for passerbyers on foot, and the other side will come in tomorrow and work on that. And then there's some guardrails and some other finishing touches. We'll come in here and have them clean it up a bit and put some hydro seed down. Some of the changes in the culvert that are different from when the homeowners had it, we extended the culvert out 2 legs, so there's 2 more sections on it. It goes out, it's covered with riprap. And there's also now what we call a splash pad under the riprap. So when the water comes out of the culvert, it's not going to eat the ground out like it did in the old design. This one just has more stuff on it to slow the water down and keep the erosion from happening. And also, if you look at it, it's so far out now that we really don't have to put full guardrails on it. So it's just going to have a handrail. That it's just a lot safer for the public. And quite honestly, it looks amazing and it sounds amazing when you stand down there. You think you're in the Smoky Mountains or something with the brook running. So it's a pretty impressive culvert at this point, especially for Cathcart Construction. They came in, took the project, and they pulled strings. They got things done. 6 days is amazing to go from zero to a fully functioning pathway in 6 days. I don't even know what to tell them. We're so happy that they're partnered with the city to do this project. And by the way, they are working on our other projects, which are a little slowed down because this is the one that displaced people. The others you can drive around. So we made some maneuvers with equipment to get this done.
I know initially we had been talking about we're just hoping to get people home before Thanksgiving, and now we're here on November 13th. How are you feeling about the timeline?
I'm ecstatic about it. We had no idea that equipment and a lot of people, like today, the paving. We had to find pave trucks. This wasn't a scheduled thing for a company, so somebody had to run it out here. And this is a small job, so for them to run the equipment out here, do the paving for us, and then get out of here, that's a big deal for a company that's got a big project somewhere. And I'm not really sure where it came from, but I know they came in here, they hammered it out for us, and then they left just as quick. And we're so thankful that they did that for us, because that could have been a holdup on this whole deal.
I know you didn't do the work yourself, but how can you assure people that with it being done so quickly and what happened, that they know that it's going to be safe and this won't happen again?
It's fully inspected and everything was done above board and par. We've had people ask us where we got the riprap from. We bought it from reputable companies. It's all above board and full. I mean, one of the advantages to being a partner with the city in emergency mode is our inspectors were coming out. I'm one of the inspectors, by the way. We were out here almost every day. Myself almost every day, checking and inspecting and making sure things were done right. Our engineer, he did a fantastic job. He was out here from the point they pulled the trigger. He just left about an hour ago. So, and this is going on day and night. These guys back here, they really deserve an applause. They work day and night to get this done, and it's an amazing project. It looks great.
Those extended culvert, the extended culvert and the splash pad underneath, you could put it. Is that going to help with those? Hopefully this doesn't happen again.
My intent is never have to come in here again.
Right. Is that to help make it safer? And better?
What it does is it defuses the water when it comes out. So the old design, I mean, it was 23 years old. So back then they didn't require that, and so it just blew out. And what it did is it eroded the header out, and then when the header fell free, it didn't have a foot on it or a splash pad to it, so it fell forward. And when it fell forward, it pulled all the pipes out with it, and that's what really caused the catastrophic failure here. That can't happen now. They have a splash pad on it, riprap on it, and it's just a big piece of concrete holding the culverts in place. So this design should last a lot longer than 23 years. So.
Do you know where we are at cost-wise, and when does the city expect to recoup their money?
That's still being worked on. We have a couple of meetings still with the Homeowners Association. I'm going to stand by the numbers that we still threw out originally, which was between $500,000 and $700,000. I really don't know what it is yet. We rushed everything. Everything is in emergency mode still. The city of Eustis is in emergency mode, and I know if you guys drive around town, you're still going to see the Cathcart is still fixing roads for us. Palmetto is still out. The northbound entrance ramp off of 441 on the 19 is still out. There's still a lot of roads that are out, and we were heavily damaged by this historic rain, and we're getting things done one at a time, but it's getting done, and until all that finishes up, we're really not going to be able to itemize and figure out where we put things.
But do you know who will be responsible for paying it?
You would have to refer back to the meeting for that. Okay. I believe there's several things that are still being worked on, and I don't want to seem like I'm dodging the question. We really don't know because the insurance company hasn't done a denial yet, so it might be an insurance deal. We don't know yet. But what we do know is we wanted to get the people in their homes, and that's why the city stepped in and offered to do this and get this moving for them. We didn't want them to have to wait for due process, and that goes to the state and FEMA and all those other organizations. You could have looked at a year, even if they had everything lined up and it wasn't in emergency mode. This is really a 4-month project, so to get it done in 6 days, and I think some of you were out here the first day when we were out here. They had excavators and everything here within a couple of hours. And that's because we had a lot of equipment already staged in the city of Eustis because of all the other damage.
I saw, I think you were talking to some residents and stuff before the press conference. What are they saying? Are they thrilled to see this happening today?
Yes, they made comment about, we can't believe it went on day and night. Honestly, these gentlemen, I know they rotate in shifts and everything else, but they really work day and night. So when we say 6 days, you're really looking at, if you divide it into shifts, it's really 3 weeks worth of work, at least that. They really made it happen. The company and its employees made it happen. All we did was speed up the inspection process and help whenever we could to get supplies or equipment out. Whatever they needed, we were here for. simple things like collars on the culverts underground and all that. I mean, all that stuff had to be acquired. There's a lot of favors. There's a lot of running around grabbing things, and companies were expediting equipment to us. The big pumps that they brought in when the surge of water came on us, those pumps were brought in from Texas, and they were expedited here on the road. Those things, that's a tough thing to do, and that company made it happen. The other side, when I say this, understand that Eustis, Mount Dora, and Sorrento, that area, we were the ones that were hit with the storm, and we're fortunate of that because the area that was affected was kind of small, so there's a lot of resources available for us to pull from. If this was a hurricane and it took out the whole state of Florida, we wouldn't have had the same reaction time. We wouldn't have the availability of equipment. We wouldn't have been able to do what we did. So we're really fortunate. Unfortunate the storm hit us, but fortunate that we were able to pull all these triggers.
What do you think it says about the city of Eustis, like bringing all these resources together to get 3 weeks of work done in 6?
I will tell you, I'm impressed with my city, and it's not just the city. There's so many other pieces that you guys don't know about. Laser coming in and putting up the hotel rooms, and the community coming out. Some of these neighbors are letting people stay in their homes. The parking, everybody's parking everywhere. There's a lot of things that are going on, and it's just, this neighborhood has been outstanding. And if I had to say anything, I'd want to live in this neighborhood because these people are great. They've been hospitable to us. Not an evil word is said to us. They've been great. And I'm proud of the city for being able to step up and do this and saying, yes, we will do it. And giving me the opportunity to be in front and say, yes, we're going to do it. So that's pretty neat, pretty powerful. So, and this is the city manager, by the way, my boss. So if I say anything wrong, he'll correct me. Anything else? Any questions?
No, I guess, can I ask one more?
No, I'll tell you a little more about what to expect.
I just wanted to ask one more time, what does it mean to these families who were hoping for this to happen, that we could finally just get back to normal?
They were really scared, to tell you the truth. So we were on the edge of disaster, and a lot of people, I don't think, understand how close it was, because if the next leg would have gone out on this culvert, there's a forced main under there. And for those of you who don't know what a forced main is, that's a pressurized sewer line. If that line would have gone out, it would have contaminated this whole area, and there's another lake over here that stuff would have gone to, and that would have been horribly bad. We were able to circumvent that. The Homeowners Association did some great work on their own. When it first happened, they hired a company, they put a berm in and some pumps. It wasn't really the solution, but it was buying us time. And that Thursday meeting, the series of meetings we had on Thursday, Friday, we were already having culvert put in the ground, and we were working. We were hammering it. So it really, I think the neighborhood was kind of shocked at the shock and awe of the amount of equipment we threw at this Friday morning. I don't know if any of you were here Friday morning. It was crazy, the amount of equipment that was here, and they were literally cheering us on, bringing us bottles of water. People are just here watching. They were giving them bottles of water because they didn't know who was working and who wasn't. There were so many people here, but it was just an impressive thing. On the last part I wanted to tell everybody about was this project is still going on. There's some finishing work to do. If you look down this sidewalk right here where all the machinery was staged, we destroyed the sidewalk. We're not leaving it that way. It's going to get all cleaned up and replaced. So there'll be temporary shutdowns of one lane on the culvert, obviously, while we're replacing these sidewalks. That stuff is going to go on. So this is probably another week or so of cleanup and finish work. And then, of course, when they put the hydro seed down, you got to wait for the grass to grow in for it to look like a finished product. But it's not done yet, but it is fully functional. It is super safe. We've been driving work trucks all across it all morning, and it doesn't even squeak. So we know it can handle some weight.
Since I was late to the party, how many days? You kind of referred it to earlier. I just want to make sure I got that correct.
about 6 days of work, how many months would it normally take?
I asked the company that, and they said usually this kind of a project, because you scale and you plan, he said it'd take 4 months. So this is a 4-month project to build a culvert system like this. And the example I was using was, just getting the blacktop in today. We got to a point yesterday. This is a small job. To bring all that equipment in here, get this laid in as quick as they did for this amount of blacktop, that's pretty impressive. And that's only because all the other contractors and companies around want to help get this road open for these people. And it's not just City of Eustis, it's Lake County. It's there were so many things going on here. Emergency management helping to coordinate things for us. So just there's so many people. I can't even tell you how many people stepped in and helped us. So
sorry, since we were late too. Big takeaway between yesterday and today is today now people are going to be able to drive their cars over.
Yes, yeah, we're done. Yeah, we're done with the road part. Of course, they're going to clean it up a little more and probably do whatever they do to it. I'm not a road guy, but they did all the prep and stuff in it before you guys got here. The blacktop was put down about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and then we had to cool it down and get it set. And that's what they were running with the brushes and stuff, trying to get it cleaned up before 5 o'clock for tonight, right now. So yeah, it was all, we were pushing it. So we're just happy to get everybody home this weekend. That's kind of a great thing, right? Because when we met the other day, it was, we were hoping for before Thanksgiving, and here we are 2 weeks early. So I didn't think it was going to be that fast.
Yeah, but it was, and I'm sure all of those neighbors are very happy about that, able to get back into their neighborhood there, Spring Ridge Estates in Eustis. We're going to take a quick break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we will be right back after this.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. Let me give you a live look along International Drive in the tourist district of Orlando. We are just a few days away from the start of IAAPA Expo 2025. It's the annual trade show of the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions. It's at the Orange County Convention Center next week. Always brings in a lot of people, generates a ton of excitement with that annual event. And we are pleased today to be joined by Jakob Wall, the CEO of IAAPA, the nonprofit trade association representing 6,000 members from more than 100 countries. Jakob, we appreciate you joining us here on Fox 35 News Plus this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
So I would imagine this is an exciting time. We're just a few days out now from the annual expo. Just talk to me about how you're feeling ahead of the start of the big event.
Well, this is actually the most exciting week for all of us here in the attractions industry globally. It's like Christmas and birthday coming together, because we will have 40,000 industry professionals coming from all across the world to learn about the most recent trends in the attractions industry. So we are very much looking forward to next week.
There is always so much going on at IAAPA. What can folks expect at this year's trade show?
We have more than 1,100 exhibitors, and that can be the big roller coaster building company, water slides, inflatables, food and beverage, everything you can imagine, which is there to entertain people. They will exhibit to showcase what is happening in the industry. But beyond those products, we have inspiring presentations, networking opportunities. We will also have some fun with each other, because this is what it's all about, having fun.
Yeah. What's new this year? Anything that stands out that people should be aware of?
We have dedicated areas for Halloween. We call it the haunting grounds, where there are vendors which are really highlighting everything which you need for a good Halloween event. We also have, the street market, where we have food and beverage vendors. We have a live chef to showcase what's going on, what are the newest trends in the food and beverage industry, in attractions around the world. And then also we want to deliver fun for our members. So we have one evening at Epic Universe, and on Tuesday evening we will have a big drone show with fireworks for our attendees. So, we want to offer something also for our attendees.
You talk about the dedicated kind of Halloween stuff. That is something that we have really kind of seen take off. And a lot of it seems like appetite for Halloween events at these theme parks and other attractions.
Yes, it is. It is actually one of the big trends. For many parks and attractions, October became the most important month because everybody is so excited about Halloween. When you look at a Universal, Halloween Horror Nights has become so popular that in Las Vegas and Chicago, they're building year-round attractions for Halloween. And we see that as a trend also within our expos. So this is why we have that dedicated space this year.
Right. Can you just talk about why this event is so important to folks in the industry?
IAAPA Expo is actually not just a trade show. It's more like a class reunion and gathering from attractions industry professionals around the world. And what makes it very special is that our industry really is very social. So in the spirit of, rising tides lift all boats, everybody comes together. If it's a FEC from Milwaukee, if it's an operator from Indonesia, if it's a new park project from Saudi Arabia, they all come together to learn from each other, to inspire each other, and to really try to think about how can we do it to entertain our guests even more. And I think that is a wonderful spirit where people are just excited to see each other, to see what's new, what are the new trends, and then to walk home and say, hey, listen, that is what we can do even more to entertain our guests.
I think it's cool to hear you say, a rising tide lifts all boats, because we know there is a stiff competition in the attractions industry. But at the same time, if there are things that are going well for somebody, then that's good for the industry as a whole. Yeah. Talk about that.
Totally. That is the spirit. If you have a good experience in an amusement park, you're more likely to visit other amusement parks. And this is where we really try to create that platform where people can learn about trends, what has worked for others, and also what has not worked for others. And I think that is where we as an association are very grateful to have this platform of the trade show, where people are really sharing openly about their learnings. We have several sessions, obviously, on the big news of this year, Epic Universe, where we talk about the process on how that was created in a creative process and in operations, but also besides that, many sessions on all aspects of how you run an attraction. And that is what is really, really special about next week's happening here at the Orlando Conventions.
You talk about Epic Universe, and there's been so much excitement surrounding that from even before it opened, just leading up to that. We've seen the impact here in our area that its opening has had. What impact or what lessons do you think can others can learn from the opening of Epic Universe?
I think Orlando is the theme park capital of the world, and there's nowhere in the world where theme parks are having and amusement attractions have such an impact as in Orlando. And wherever I go in the world, you always hear from cities, we want to be the next Orlando, because they see Orlando as this #1 family destination for attractions. But the thing is, like with everything happening here, and we talked about Universal, about Epic Universe, we talk about SeaWorld, what they have added with their new attraction, their new flying theater this year. We talk about, the Disney editions, but also what happens at Gatorland, what happens at the Orlando Science Center. There's so much going on because ultimately we all benefit from that. When Epic brings in those guests also want to see the other attractions. They also want to go for dinner. They also want to stay in hotels. So it's really such an economic boost for Orlando and Central Florida. And that is why we are very grateful that IAAPA has a home here and IAAPA Expo has also its home here in Orlando.
We know there have been some, tough economic times for a lot of folks around the country. What is the outlook for the attractions industry at this time?
The attractions industry actually shows remarkable resistance and growth. And this is probably easy because, even if it's harder, even if it's economic harder, we want to be distracted. We want to have fun. We want to go out with friends, with family, with colleagues, and forget about those daily concerns which bother us. And this is where our members can actually provide those moments where we just forget about everything else and enjoy the moment and see the emotions of others, see how they are afraid of this big roller coaster, how they're enjoying the scares at Halloween, how they are really going down the water slide. And that is what makes our industry very special. And that is what continues to drive our industry. And we talked about the big parks. When you look at other investments, Icon Park continues to grow. There will be a new Ripley's Mini Golf opening there soon. Everything is always happening here and everything is always moving forward. And that is great for the industry, but it's also great for Orlando and the economy.
Yeah, it's great because we know when one park makes an improvement, that's likely going to start a chain reaction. Yes. And so for those of us around here who love to go to the theme parks, that's great to see.
It's very good news. We actually enjoy the competition between the theme parks because it does good to all of us.
All right, Jakob, we appreciate you joining us. Last thing before I let you go is what are you most looking forward to with the expo next week?
Actually meeting the people. It's a wonderful industry. We are surrounded by wonderful people from all across the world, and having 40,000 people coming from all around the world and just thinking about how can we deliver more fun experiences to the world. I mean, I can't imagine a nicer job than this.
Jakob Wall, IAAPA CEO, we appreciate your time. Good talking with you this afternoon, and best of luck with the event next week.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
We're going to take a quick break here on Fox 35 News Plus, and we'll be right back. All right.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. Give you a live look at downtown Orlando and the blue sky out there on this Friday afternoon, heading into a Beautiful weekend here in the City Beautiful, and a lot going on as well that you can get involved in this weekend if you're looking for something to do. We caught up with U Nation earlier today to talk about some of the big events going on around town.
Hi, I am so excited to be here this Friday, and we have so many great things happening this holiday season, and it officially starts today. So
Yes.
let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off, and let's start with the Asian Lantern Festival at Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens. How cool is this?
The Asian Lantern Festival is honestly one of my favorite holiday events of the entire year. You'll step into a glowing world of color, and with it, the Asian Lantern Festival into the wild. It is a 3/4 mile trail that winds through over 10,000 LED light displays with larger than life lantern sculptures of your favorite animals. They have brand new lantern displays this year, including one of my favorite animals, the axolotl, which is such a random animal to have a light display, but I'm so excited to see it, represented here. The event starts tonight, November 14th, and it runs all the way through January 18th. So you even get a little post-holiday vibes here with this event. Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens. The event runs from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Come a little bit late and explore the
I think we were having some a little bit of lagging issues there, Ashley, but you were telling us the times. It was the last thing we were able to make out. The times that folks can kind of check out the Lantern Festival.
Yes, Wi-Fi, we love service, but it's from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay, and so a lot of fun. It's really well done. One of those things, too, where you can go, you can get some hot chocolate, sip on it while you walk around. Just a really cool holiday event for the whole family.
Yes, for the entire family. It's such a great event with really special food offerings, and the hot chocolate is so, so good.
Now, talk about what's going on at Gaylord Palms.
Yes, Gaylord Palms is another classic Florida holiday event. They are kicking off with their Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer themed ice event. This immersive 20,000 square foot holiday experience features over 6,700 blocks of ice, and yes, I said 6-7, transformed by more than 40 master artisans that took over 12,000 hours carving to create all these intricate details for this event. It's a stunning showcase, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is such a holiday classic movie that fans of all ages is going to really get to enjoy this experience. But I do recommend bundling up. It is kept at 9 degrees Fahrenheit in there, very, very cold. So they do have those iconic blue parkas for you to wear, but highly recommend maybe bringing some gloves, bringing some headgear, anything to keep you warm so you can focus on the fun and not the chills.
That is great advice for people who haven't been before. It's so impressive to see, and there's just something about kind of walking through there and getting that full experience with the cold.
I know, and my favorite part is the slides. They have these huge, like 2-story slides that you can just slide down. It's great for the kids to get out the energy for those parents. That's a nice pro tip. But also, it's fun for the adults too. Make sure you guys hop on the slides.
Yeah, exactly. So from being cold inside to being not so cold outside, we know Warped Tour also going on this weekend in Orlando.
Warped Tour is back for the first time in 7 years. Garrett, we have not had Warped Tour in Orlando since 2018, which is absolutely wild. And they are bringing back all of the pop punk, emo, and alt rock nostalgia that you guys have been waiting for. So break out your favorite band tees, dust off your Vans. It's been a hot second, and head back to Tinker Field for Warped Tour this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Again, first time since August of 2018, we're hosting it. This is a big deal, Orlando. Some of those really big band names are 303, A Day to Remember, All Time Low, Bowling for Soup, Boys Like Girls, Yellow Card, We the Kings, Young Gravy, and more. And I hope I hit a little bit of that nostalgia with some of those names. I'm personally so excited to see All Time Low. I've been a fan of theirs since Dear Maria Count Me In 2009. But it's not just music happening here. They have a Warped Tour museum to celebrate 30 years of Warped Tour history. They have the Artist Alley where you can shop for your favorite band merchandise and also potentially get the chance to meet your favorite artists with some meet and greets. They have a sponsorship village with free activations and free giveaways. We love free things with their big name sponsors like Vans, Hot Topic, Kona Big Wave, and White Claw, and an extremes sports section. Because yes, they are having a skate park and you'll get the chance to watch professionals perform high-flying skate demos to BMX tricks. It's going to be absolutely insane out there, Orlando. I'm so excited for this weekend.
You can tell it's been a while since the last time that this happened, because the most recent file video we have of this, they're still using cash. So you know that it has been a while since Warped Tour was last back here. We also had the surprise announcement today, Hawthorne Heights, with their surprise, going to be doing a surprise set there. So
even I missed that one. Oh my gosh, wait, I'm finding out live right now.
So a lot of excitement for this one, Ashley, but those aren't the only things going on this weekend. If folks want to learn more about some other things, where can they find out about the events and more weekend plans?
Of course, well, you guys can download the free UNation app to make all of your plans this weekend and beyond. We have everything from events to local business highlights and hidden gems. So everything that you need created for you by us. So you guys can make sure to download the app and stay connected with us on social media at Stuff to Do in Orlando. And we'll see you next week to help you make the most out of your weekend.
And there is a lot of stuff to do in Orlando this weekend. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back after this.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon. The Miami Dolphins are in Madrid right now. They are preparing for the NFL's first ever game in Spain. The Dolphins take on the Commanders Sunday morning, 9:30 Eastern Time. We heard from Mike McDaniel speaking to reporters from Madrid earlier today.
And I wanted to see if you could speak a little bit about him and about the process at the time for him not staying. He was the quarterback last season for the Bravos here, so he's kind of a big name. And if he met with the squad or something.
No, I knew my first question was going to be about Reed. That was sarcastic. So he's he did a great job in my brief time with him. One of the things about the quarterback position is it's pretty difficult to have a chair on the team because there's a starting quarterback and then there's a lot of good throwers out there, and you only a lot of times keep two quarterbacks on your roster. So he did a great job for us. And the reason why he had the opportunity was because of his game, and some of which was developed here, and did a great job. I think he was one of the guys that unfortunately you have to let go when your rosters get closer to the regular season, but did a great job for us, and is fully capable of playing the quarterback position in the right situation.
Thank you. In lieu of Barry being here, I'll ask the injury questions. What can you tell us about the game statuses of Chop Robinson, if he has cleared concussion protocol, and Abram Brewer, Russell Douglas?
So I would say that, first of all, Chop is cleared definitively. And then Rasul, he's probably going to be more along the lines of questionable. We have to continue to have some growth today and no setbacks. And then Brew, I would say I'm aggressively optimistic. Yeah.
Hey, Mike. I want to ask you about Jalen Waddle's development progression. Obviously, losing Tyreek is not easy for any team, but Jalen's put up decent numbers with the exception of one game. One, what kind of growth do you see from his game? And two, he doesn't have much of an ego for a receiver, which I'm sure is quite unique considering the nature of the position.
Yeah, so I would say that it's been a pretty steady progression in the details of Waddle's game. And, I think that gave him an opportunity that when, we had some, potential targets lost, with some injuries, that opportunity, hit him at a great time in where his development already was. So, I think it was more of the adversity of the injuries was an extra opportunity that he just so happened to be completely ready for his game in terms of the extra attention defensively and necessitating if your number one receiver and quarterback aren't on the same page from a timing perspective, you're probably going to be mediocre at best. So for us to produce on offense, they need to be not only on the same page, but executing in a high fashion. So I think Jalen Waddle, knew if given the opportunity, he can put up whatever numbers that the game allows for. I think he's with extra attention defensively, he's found a way to exceed or maximize the opportunities he does get as well. It's not just getting more opportunities, but he's getting extra yardage after the catch with extra attention on him. So I think that's vitally important for a one receiver when the post player in single safety is going to lean to your side so that you can have extra help on the man-to-man player, and you still get open and get extra yards with that extra attention. It's monumental. And yeah, I think when you have a receiver as talented as him, and he is a football player, those are why he's so important to me and this team, because football players win. There's really good receivers that don't participate in their off-ball production plays. So if you want to be a good running team, everybody has to block, including the receivers. If you want to win win games against good opponents or win games down the stretch of the season. There's you need to be able to execute, and it's not just catching the ball or being able to get open. Football is a game of 11 players each and every play, and every play matters and can create consequences that change the game at any point. If Waddle isn't straining on those two long run plays, they're not long run plays. They're 15-yarders, not a 59 and a 30-yarder. So that it's very important, and he's doing a great job, and look forward to him getting continued opportunities to show off what he's worked on.
That's head